Good morning and welcome to the Vidpal Travel.com Startup and Travel Webinar Series. I'm Emelina Monero, Vidpal Social Media Manager, and we are a real-time global marketplace for the average traveler, a video marketplace. Tonight we are talking with Niels from Belgium. He is a designer and the inventor of Morph, a new fitting system. And so Niels, you have traveled to many places, so I just want to kick off with that and let us know some of the places. Well, first say hello. I want to introduce you. Hey, Niels.
Hello. How are you doing, Melina? Good to be here. Hello to everyone watching.
And I'm glad you're here too. We've talked a little bit before, and so I'm really excited just to share some of your energy with the Vidpal audience.
Cool.
And so tell us some of the places that you've traveled to.
Well, I've traveled to quite a few places. Let me think. Peru, I've traveled to Peru, South America, Vietnam, Singapore when I was younger, Egypt, Turkey, Tunisia, and I guess, yeah, most of Europe as well, like almost every country in Europe as well. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about why traveling resonates with you. Because I know it seems like something important, and it's something important like a thread in your startup journey too, and I've seen some like spiritual connections you've had. So what about traveling resonates with you, and what are some things that you can only get from traveling?
I think traveling is, the most amazing thing in the world. Like a few centuries ago, kind of wealthy people went traveling it was a way to educate themselves, But for me as well, like traveling really gives me kind of bursts of creativity and much clarity. It seems that when I'm like, actually physically on the move, moving forwards, especially to a new place, not on the tube or something, and my brain goes into a kind of higher state of creative functioning. So it gives me this really good feeling. My partner actually, she always tells me that I've got itchy feet. Staying in one place for too long makes me feel a bit, I don't know, dreary. I lose sight of priorities sometimes. You get stuck in the small things. And although traveling can be quite tiresome on your body and your mind, it also keeps me fresh and on edge, And also, like, when you travel, you've got all these new influences and inspirations, like from different kinds of foods to even the letter type that they use. For example, in London, you've got a lot of restaurants and stuff. I live in London at the moment, so you've got a lot of restaurants and stuff, and they have this kind of big, kind of bold letter type on these colorful backgrounds, and you can see the houses and stuff. And it's just like, for me as a designer, as a creative person, it's a true inspiration to kind of see these things,
I think that's really interesting that when traveling, those are the things that you notice, like lettering and colors. Like for me, traveling, that's not something necessarily that I would notice. But I think that's really cool because it kind of shows what your passion is, with style and influencing fashion.
Well, I guess, you're right. When I travel, I look at people's clothing sense as well, So I lived in Peru for a few months, and I was really inspired by, first of all, what they were wearing, especially the indigenous people. But also like how they make stuff. Like they've got a certain type of weaving. They say there, once you know how to weave like we do, you truly know our culture. So I always look, and they've got, some beautiful hats that they wear which are very much in fashion now. But also just in London, there's some few spots like Portobello Road in Notting Hill. There's been a film about it a few years ago. When you just, on just an average day, you sit down with a cup of tea or coffee, look at all the different kinds of people and the styles, it just really like makes you feel alive as well, So you're right. Like I look at the leather types, I eat good food when I'm there, and just look at the people passing by and get a lot of inspiration from it. So that's, yeah, it's a good question.
Thank you. So from all the different places you've traveled, and one thing about Vidpal is that we want to have videos on the site to give people kind of like a unique local perspective. So if someone were to visit you, like one of your best friends who maybe hasn't been to London or some other place that you've been to, what would kind of be like a day in the life of the local things that you'd share with them?
Okay. Well, tough one. There's a lot of cool places. I think I lived in Amsterdam for a while, and it's definitely one of my favorites because it's a small city, but it's like really hustly and bustly at the same time. So I definitely maybe go for Amsterdam. And if a friend comes to visit, I just like to walk along, you know, in Amsterdam, for example, you've got the canals. So I'd like to walk alongside the canals, you know, grab a bite to eat in a small restaurant. No Dutch cuisine, you know, no Dutch food. But just like some nice food, you know, maybe catch a museum, go on a boat, you know, they've got some, it's very beautiful. And just really get that local life, you know, like the local life is about the small things, you know, that good butcher that sells really good ham, or you know, get a nice sandwich or get some gluten-free snacks or something like that. But if I can give a second option, I'd go for London as well, because like I just mentioned, there's Portobello Road in Notting Hill. There was a film with some American actors, you know, Julia Roberts and Hugh Grant a few years ago, I think. And you know, this road is like it's amazing. It's like an amalgam of different kind of classes, cultures, dress styles. You've got very posh people, poor people, working class people, rich people, foreign people. And so if a friend would visit here, just walk, you know, along Portobello Road. You've got an antiques market, vintage clothing, you know, and then just like having some food, and then just, you know, spotting some quirky people. Those are the two things that I would do.
So I know that your startup journey is very influenced with your travel journey. But before we get more into that kind of travel aspect, I remember talking earlier, and you said that you studied organizational work psychology, and that before you got into developing 2080, which we'll go into, and inventing Morph and creating the perfect T-shirt for men, that you were working for a headhunting company in Belgium. And then, like, the list of the things you did is pretty crazy. But the theme that we talked about is how there's like this unfulfilling aspect. So tell me more a little bit about the journey of kind of what about that life wasn't fulfilling? What did you learn from those experiences? And what from that drew you to go to fashion and style?
Well, good question. It's good to think back as well. I think since I was a little boy, I wanted to be a professor. And so I went to university, I studied psychology, and I graduated like with a master's in psychology, like mostly like HR and work psychology. And then I got offered a PhD by my university, and I thought like, wow, you know, it's like a dream come true. But after I checked the whole process and how, you know, like you actually just had to listen to a professor and sit in this small kind of not very well smelling office, I just, you know, declined. And then I got spotted by this headhunting company who were looking for like graduates, and they, you know, they kind of attracted me, they hired me, and I took the job. And partly because I thought I needed to be this kind of swanky businessman. So they offered like a nice car, a nice phone, snazzy laptop, great bonus system, like lots of money, and, you know, promise of having lots of thrilling, new, exciting experiences. So, and also they just recruited a few months earlier a good friend and classmate of mine who's this brilliant guy. He's really good. And together we were like a power team, you know, this kids like 23, 24-year-olds, like talking to like, you know, big time executives and stuff. And it was good fun for a while. But the work itself, to be honest, was quite unfulfilling for me, because it's a very sharky world, dog-eat-dog world, you know. Like as a headhunter, both clients and companies see you as a kind of a leech, you know. So they will go and work with you, but they don't treat you that much respect. Sorry for my language, but maybe even fuck you over sometimes. And I really wasn't, you know, I was too sensitive for that. So after about a year or so, I was like, you know, this is not my thing. And I noticed that, you know, since I was a teenager, I started developing this love for style and elegance, and how you can translate who you believe that you are in just a few pieces of clothing, which I find amazing. Especially with men. With women, it's a bit too complicated for me. So I spent most of my time in these jobs actually looking at the suits that people were wearing, and, you know, reading a lot of blogs, you know, working a few hours a day, you know, and then actually the rest of my day reading blogs and following guys like, you know, Scott Schumann, the sartorialist and stuff. And I really liked it. So after a year or so, I got fired actually. So, which is, you know, quite disappointing then, but it was very good actually, because in hindsight, you know, got me a step closer. So I decided to do a fashion brand management course at this business school in Belgium, which was a good step forward. And then I got this stint at this this menswear fashion company. They're in America as well. They're quite known, and they like, you know, I got to talk to the CEO who invited me for a chat, and I got a lot of promises and stuff. And then I started working there, and you know, I was working for about 2 months. Then I quit the company because it was the most toxic, macho environment I'd ever been in. Like I said before, I'm quite sensitive, creative, so all these kind of sharks, you know, I just couldn't hack it. You know, like ugh. So I decided to start my own company, consultancy, because I noticed in my previous job I was really good at business development, so I could get big time clients, you know, and I wouldn't give up. So I decided to help people in fashion and creative industries get more clients, develop their business and their brands. Well, I didn't have much knowledge, nor, you know, connections or money actually. So everyone told me like, "What are you doing? You know, just get a job, got a good degree, get a job." But I really felt it was the right thing, and there were like 2 people supporting me, only 2 people. One was my father, and the other one was a very close friend and a great artist. His name is Diego, Brazilian guy. So with their support, I kind of like worked my ass off for about 3 months, almost burned out. But in the end, I got a really cool gig at this famous designer studio, doing business and brand development there, which paid a lot of money. So I was really, like, you know, it was really cool. And I got involved with this TV show about fashion and design that was airing in Canada, France, and Belgium. So that was really cool as well. I was doing co-production for them. So I was combining these 2 things and having the snazzy lifestyle of going to Paris, going to Milan, you know, stuff like this. But oh yeah, and then after a few months, they asked me at the TV show to be the co-host for the 2nd season. And you have to think, like, this was a TV show that was aired out on big channels, so, you know, quite a few people saw this, and this was a big step forward in this kind of fashion scene. You know, when you get to this kind of level, I was being offered like free clothing and stuff, which I always thought was what I wanted, you know. But I still felt very unfulfilled inside myself. I was very miserable, to be honest. And I didn't know why, and I was blaming myself. It's like, come on, Niels, you know, in under 6 months, you've kind of made it. You're making good money. You're gonna be famous, and all these things. But I wasn't happy, and I was angry at myself for not being happy because, you know, we've got this first world issues. Like, you know, I've got all these things, and I'm still not happy. So yeah. But then I met my fiance. Now, you know, Camille is my fiance now in Berlin at a business trip. And that kind of changed my life. So after a few weeks of going back and forth between Belgium and London, I decided to move to London, and so I quit everything. And the same people who told me, Neil, in the beginning, Niels, you can't do this. What are you doing? Get a job. Actually told me that, Niels, what are you doing? You're crazy. You just made it. You're making it. You know, which was quite funny. You know, we've always got these people. But I actually made the move within a few weeks and came to London for a few months. And then we decided to travel to Peru, to South America. And that was an amazing experience. It was kind of a spiritual journey, you know, self-discovery thing, kind of typical 20s self-discovery journey. But I learned a lot about sustainability while I was there. I worked with some NGOs and stuff, doing consultancy for them. And I learned so much, and that was my second passion. So I realized there that you can really put that sustainability and the kind of, fashion is a shit word, but kind of like elegance and style and clothing together. And that would give like this great combination. And I realized that in the fashion industry, in the clothing industry, there was a big gap in the market for kind of these, you know, sustainable and very stylish clothing. Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Your question was what did you learn, right? Sorry, I kind of went off on a tangent. No, I learned a lot. Doing that consultancy gave me the confidence. I knew that I could, in a very short time, could build something sustainable, like financially and stuff like that. So I built that confidence, and I know I was a good builder. You know, if I had a concept, I could really go for it. And that's the mostly what I learned doing this whole process. Like, have the confidence to that, and follow your gut feeling as well. You know, my gut feeling has never been wrong.
Yeah, I think that's an amazing thing that you kind of just, you know, showed us from your history of how you achieved all these goals that you wanted to go after, and you went really far with each of them, but like something inside of you knew that it still wasn't a good fit for you. And so even though you had what some people would look at as success, that wasn't your measure of success. So you were able to let those things go and pursue what you wanted to. So I think that's following your gut. That's an awesome quality to have.
Yeah, thanks. I guess outward measurements of success are very, very, hollow after a while. You can't do it for the swanky experiences, but when you're in them, you're just still you having an experience, and it's not perfect. It's never like the movies. I always try to live my life like the movies, I had a convertible, a cabriolet, so I drive to Paris with the sunshine, my nice designer sunglasses. I feel like, oh, this is like in the films, but it wasn't. It really wasn't, because I didn't feel it inside. The sun was shining, but I couldn't feel it. I know that's maybe an exaggeration, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah.
At some point, like you're talking about traveling to Peru and learning about eco fashion, and that was a kind of a spiritual journey for you. Like, was it there at some point along the line? Did you find what that thing was that gave you fulfillment?
Yes, I guess in a way. It took a while after I came back as well, but what I learned there, so I went from fashion, which is very shallow, to being a hippie in Peru, wearing like these kind of hemp trousers, baggy jumpers, like sandals made of tires and stuff like that. And like this really like extreme kind of, backflip, almost like a 180-degree switch. But the funny thing is, Melina, I noticed that these hippies, or so-called hippies, were as judgmental as the fashion people. They just had a worse, dress sense. If you didn't have dreadlocks, for example, you weren't part of the crew, stuff like that, and that really, I'm using big language now, but that really disgusts me about people sometimes, that judgmentalness, that kind of closed-mindedness. So I kind of was a bit disappointed there as well, but at the same time it was good, because I kind of balanced, I centered myself after that, and then realized that I can take that sustainability and I can take that kind of elegance and style and put it together, it doesn't have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
Sorry for my harsh language.
No, not at all. And so at 19, you had the idea to create the perfect t-shirt. So can you tell me more about kind of like steps A through Z of how you went to create, the startup that you have. Now you have your 2080 clothing line, and you invented a new fitting system, Morph. And this all kind of evolved from the perfect t-shirt.
Yeah.
So tell me that kind of journey.
Okay. So it's when I was 19, I was into clothing and stuff. I went to this boutique, this fancy boutique in Brussels, in Belgium, and all these expensive clothing. But I never really found something that fit me very well, and neither did my friends. They were tall, or they were kind of big or short, and it never really looked good. With a man, it's very important that the fit is the most important thing in the world. If you can wear very expensive, garments or fabric, but it won't look good on you if it doesn't fit right. So I kind of finally got this, I don't know, vision is a big word, but this idea that I saw these three kind of garments, t-shirts or jumpers or shirts on the wall based on body types, and it took me a few years actually. Like I was like, oh, that would be so cool. And I talked to some friends, but it took me a few years. And so last year actually, I decided to you know what, I'm going to go for it. I am going to launch the first high-end, sustainable, kind of luxury menswear company. Very authentic, very high-end, handmade, handcrafted. So I decided to do that. And the first kind of item on the list that I wanted to completely redesign, because I've been quite frustrated with the whole fashion industry for a while, and I'll tell you about that later maybe. But the first kind of item that I decided to redesign was a t-shirt, because the t-shirt is one of the most iconic garments in the world. It's, I think, one of the most worn garments in the world, or maybe the most worn pieces of clothing in the world. And it doesn't get a lot of attention. People just sell t-shirts. There's very, designers, I can't, name anyone, but that sell t-shirts for $600-700, which are actually the same kind of fit, but with their logo on it. And nothing was really out there that was good enough. So I talked to some people I know in like luxury companies, and they said to me we just print. It's like a side business for us. We print our name on it. We sell it for $200, $300, $400, $500, and we don't really care about it because we don't think it's actually worth looking into financially wise, And that kind of pissed me off. So I was like, I'm not in this for the money. I just want to create something beautiful and that's almost perfect. So I started looking into how to make it better. And the first thing on the list was it needs to fit much better, you know. There were days that I was just sitting on the tube, the metro in London, going up and down, looking at what all the people were wearing. It was summer, so and just noticing that almost none of the t-shirts that guys were wearing were actually good in any way. So I started looking into that, and started looking into, you know, what did I do? Oh, I started looking into Greek sculpting of the ancient Greeks like 3,000 years ago, because they knew how to make something look good. You know, they used mathematics there. I actually went to travel to Italy to study with some tailors in Naples and Rome, because they have the best tailors there. I connected with some Savile Row tailors in London, because they're amazing as well, and just really dived into how to create this, you know, this perfect fit first of all. And out of those efforts, after a few months, kind of Morph emerged, which is, you know, like you said, this new fitting system based on body types. But that's, I can't tell you more. But it's, let's say it's based on body types. It's much more comfortable. It's extremely comfortable. It fits in all the right places. So I've re-engineered, redesigned every kind of seam in the garment to fit your body type and your length category, you know, perfectly. And once I've done that, I realized, wait a second, this is really big, you know? I can do this with t-shirts, shirts, jumpers, jackets. You know, we're developing trousers now, even shoes. This is something that's so simple, but no one's done it before. And because people didn't think there was enough money in it, because the fashion industry is very money focused at this moment. There's not much innovation going on. And once I realized that, you know, kind of things came together.
And can you tell me more of the, like, I remember more of the travel journey that was infused in there. Like, I remember you went for 5 hours once to feel a piece of fabric and how it felt on your skin. Like, what were some of those moments in creating this perfect t-shirt?
Oh, the travel. Well, you know, it was almost as if I used my business as an excuse to travel, you know? I just love it so much. Let me see. Well, yeah, for example, like this, you know, I was like really researching like eco fabrics, because there's not much out there yet. And there was a supplier, a small supplier in Holland, a 5-hour drive from my parents' place in Belgium. But I just, you know, it was 5 hours in total, yeah. So I just took the drive. It was a beautiful day. And I had my fiance with me. And we drove for 5 hours just to get there, to have this sample, this piece of kind of hemp fabric. Just for me, I'm a bit weird like that, you know, so I just have to feel it on my skin, and I feel it on my belly, you know, my bare skin on my belly, just to check out. And like Camille was looking at me saying, "You're crazy," but I just loved it so much, so I didn't mind. What else? Like I traveled to, like I said, to Italy, to Germany, England, Belgium, Holland. I'm actually leaving for Asia on Tuesday for about 2 months, so traveling was always infused. And I don't know if it was an excuse or it was really necessary. I think sometimes it wasn't necessary, but it was just a lot of fun as well. And I think one of the best moments of traveling was when I was in Naples with these tailors, and I took a day off, and I went to climb the Vesuvius, you know, the volcano. Do you know it?
I don't know it.
Yeah, it's a quite famous volcano, and it's we went to climb all the way to the top, you know. And there was these 2 Indian guys that were in my hotel, and I met them, and they were MBA students. So all the way climbing to the top, which was amazing, spectacular. We were talking about my business, they were advising me, and that was just such a beautiful moment, you know, where everything came together.
What was the emotional journey of creating your startup? Because I remember at one point you're telling me how about, like, you set yourself a deadline, and that if you didn't meet that deadline and things weren't moving forward, that you're gonna go back to being like a more traditional job. So what was that kind of like the ups and downs of developing your startup?
So, you know, I started with this, like, I want to set up this brand, and I want to be a designer. Not that I had any knowledge of being a designer, but it didn't matter. So it's been really hard. It's been really tough. So I set myself a deadline. I said, if this doesn't succeed in some way, at the end of January 2015, sorry, so, you know, it's past now, I have to quit, you know. I had a budget, and so of course, you know, I worked very hard, and things were coming along nicely, much slower as you anticipate, as usual. But in my kind of blue sky thinking, you know, you kind of forget that in the beginning. So that date actually came, and I did not, you know, I didn't have any investment. I wasn't ready with the prototypes or anything. So I was really depressed, and I decided, like, I have to follow up on my word, on my commitment to myself. So I started drafting my CV, and I started crying when I was doing it. I was like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. I was literally crying, feeling so depressed. And like, but I had to do it. And so then Camille came and we had a chat about it, and she told me, like, come on, you can do this. Give yourself one more month. I was already in quite a lot of debt right now with, like using all my credits. But she said, come on, you can do it. Live very cheaply. And so I did it for one more month, and that month made the difference, and everything came together, which I'm very happy about now. But yeah, to come back to the struggles, the first about 6 months I was by myself, and as you might know, like people listening might know, that when you're by yourself, you have these ups and downs, and so there's no one to kind of catch that, like to kind of infuse you with a positive attitude if you're not, if you're feeling down. So it was an emotional roller coaster. Also because it was a completely new territory for me. I wanted to be a designer, and all these kind of belief systems that you're not a designer, Niels, who do you think you are? So on every level, I was completely out of my comfort zone. I spent all my money. Camille's brother, who's a hotshot in advertisement, came by, and he wanted to give me some good advice, and he said, Niels, why don't you get a job? You're a very talented guy. You've got a good degree. I've got a lot of connections. I can help you out, set you up with a really cool job, pays a lot of money. I don't think he said pays a lot of money. Maybe I thought that he said that. But and I was actually doubting for about 2 weeks. Maybe he's right. Like, what am I doing? I'm so poor right now. Like, yeah. I even slept on the floor for a few days at a friend's place. But I'm glad it was hard. But there was, you just need those kind of 2-3 people who believe in you, and then you can make it through. So I'm glad I did now. Not that I king of the world or anything, but a much better place now.
What were some of the mental practices you did to keep on going? Like, whenever self-doubt came in, or someone approached you with oh, you could take this path. What were some of the things you told yourself or did to keep moving forward?
Well, now I wish I would have done more mental practices, but I did meditate. I do meditate every day, in the morning, which helps me. But sometimes I just feel rubbish for about 2 weeks. Like your mind is like a snake eating itself, always in the same patterns. So that would happen and boil up inside me until I had this emotional release or could talk to someone. I did always invest quite heavily in coaching. I'd recommend everyone to get a coach or something, get someone to guide you. But mostly it's just when you're really down, but you really feel passionate or something is your calling, or then you will get through it, and you will, because it's actually what gives you energy. It's what gives you hope and joy, because you're creating something. So if you're really pursuing what you want to do, then it will actually get you through that dark space. So that's just following the gut feeling is the only thing I can always say.
And you're saying how that extra month, that gave you the momentum and the shifts you needed to continue. How did that feel once everything was kind of in place, you knew it was going to work out? What was that moment like for you?
Well, I'm still not sure every day if it's going to work out. You never know. But when I noticed that I got some investment in, and the best moment for me was when I developed this theory of these fitting system. We've got 9 fits, and in theory it looked amazing. I've put in the effort. It was solid on paper, and then I went to work with this costume designer, and we were making it together. It took us 2 weeks to create the first prototypes. And so even before that, once we finished the toile, it's called the toile. We saw it on the fitting models. Some guys, came over. We got some guys, and they were really excited. And I actually saw that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, yes, and it actually worked better than I imagined it to work initially on paper. So that was the best moment for me. That was the best. Yeah, that was definitely a big relief.
And how does it feel to know that you've created this new fitting system that revolutionizes sizing, and what kind of impact do you see this T-shirt and Morph having in the fashion industry and for menswear?
Well, the question you're asking now, I'm getting this, like volcano in my belly now. I really I made this to help people as well. I really think this could really kind of stir up everything. I'm not going to use the word revolutionize. It's still a living system. It's not like I'm not curing cancer, but it can help people in a way that it can help brands because the fitting system is very consistent. So whichever brand has a fitting system, or it's always going to be the same. What really frustrates me is even though you've got small, medium, large, which are based on averages that don't exist. No one is that average. That's the first thing that annoys me. And the second thing, every brand has their own kind of interpretation of their own small, medium, and large. There's massive kind of discrepancies. So as a guy or as everyone, you can go to one brand, have a medium, and the other brand is completely different. So it's so annoying. That's why I don't know any guy that orders clothing online. So with Morph, it's completely consistent, and you can actually focus on the style of the clothing, of the garments, how it looks on you, which has a few, so for the brands, online shopping becomes much easier. Your clients, will have much more confidence, and your customers will order online because they know it's going to fit. So your sales go up, your returns go down. For customers themselves, they will know like this is going to fit me very well. It's going to be very comfortable. It's going to last a long time, and they can actually focus on the style, and they don't have to stick with one brand that fits well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that way, it can really and the thing is, the cool thing about the Morph fitting system, it makes you look better. Like I've kind of inserted this mathematical kind of thing. I can't say too much about it, but that it's kind of based on geometry. For example, when you're like a kind of a skinny guy, it's made like that, so it makes you look more athletic. And when you're, for example, a bit bigger, what it does is makes you look slimmer. It actually empowers your body features, but the body features that are very beautiful about you, it brings out even more, giving you that kind of making you look really good and making you feel better as well, like it kind of boosting your confidence.
That's really great.
Yeah,
I love both that and also the online shopping, because a few friends tell me they do online shopping, but like I have to go in a store to see if it fits. Like I don't trust that if I buy something online that I'm just gonna have to return it. It's like So I think that's great just to have this fitting system where like all of that gets diminished and you're buying clothes that will fit your body type.
Yeah, and for example, if you want a polo shirt, you go to Lacoste. If they have Morph, it's gonna fit you. And if you want a T-shirt, you go to Under Armour to do some sports. And if they've got Morph, it's going to fit you, So it becomes much, much easier, both the physical shopping experience as the online shopping experience.
Yeah.
Because you don't even know how many, the percentages of returns some brands have, up to 40%. It's insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And it's such a simple idea, but the most simple ideas often work the best. I hope I'm not bragging too much, but I'm just really excited about it,
So can you tell me, since this journey of creating your startup and also just this whole journey of creating your different businesses, so knowing what you know now, what advice would you give yourself if you could give yourself advice from the beginning of your journey?
Some advice. I'm a bit of a loner. I've always been a bit of a loner, which on this journey has sometimes proven quite difficult. So really get some advice from the right people, very important, the right positive-minded people. Invest in coaching. I've invested quite a lot of money in coaching, but it's always helped me out so much to keep me on track. Because like I said, your snake is your mind is like a snake eating its own tail. You've got these routines in your head. So to people to see your blind spots and get you out of there. There's actually this great Rumi saying, says, whoever enters the way without a guide will take 100 years to travel a 2-day journey, which I find very poignant, It's like, it doesn't have to be difficult. And one of my slogans is, you're much closer than you think, You're often much closer than you think, but your kind of belief systems or your, out of your comfort zone, and it kind of leads you in a way instead of straight to your goal. So that's very important. Get some decent advice, get some decent coaching. The second is follow your gut feeling. Always follow your gut feeling, you know, it's there for a reason. And the third one is surround yourself with positive people. You know, you've always got these naysayers. They're the ones that tell you you can't do it, and they will be the ones taking the credit for when you're actually successful and say, I always told him he could do it. I told him from the start, which makes me furious. So get the right people, get the right kind of, get a mastermind group, you know, connect online, connect in your community, but just connect to these people because they will be there for you when you're feeling down. And you will probably, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What were some of like the mistakes you made along the way that you've learned from the most?
Actually, mostly recently, because I got like this collaboration with this kind of Imperial College, which is this kind of equivalent in England of this Ivy League university with their MBA program. So I got these team of 4 high-end, you know, 35, 45-year-old something professionals working for me. And actually, I have to be honest, we stopped our collaboration prematurely 2 days ago. Because it just wasn't working out, and I still feel a bit upset about it. And I realized like I've been very lenient. I don't like authority, so I wanted to be lenient with them, and that's really, you know, got me in the end. In the beginning, you have to be strict with people. Be fair, but be strict. You know, take some time to get to know them and let them prove themselves if they want to work with you. You know, and so you have to kind of really value what you have to offer. So let them come to you and let them prove themselves and really follow your gut feeling. You know, if they have a, you know, a cool title like MBA or like a top 10 university or business school, it doesn't matter, you know, just names, just things, like very subjective. So that's important. What else? Yeah, like don't share what I did in the beginning because I was so excited. I shared immediately everything with everyone. Don't share your deepest kind of strategies and how you want to get things in the market because things do get stolen. Don't be paranoid, but let people prove themselves to you. You know, they have to be trustworthy, so let them come to you. If they really are excited about what you do, they will come back. Don't be scared, you know. Yeah, those are the 2 kind of like learning or mistakes or learning opportunities that I've had while managing people mostly. It can be such a pain for us.
Managing people such a pain? What was it?
Yeah, it can be. Well, maybe I'm not a born manager, but I don't manage people can be. I'm getting better, but it can be a pain in the ass because I want to be nice to people, but being nice doesn't always work.
Yeah.
I'm sad to say it.
Yeah, I've experienced some of the same things with managing interns. I know that the mistakes that I've made were actually the same thing. I've been a little too lenient or I was being a little too nice. And so now, like,
yeah.
I noticed how, you know, on the phone or an email, like how I change how I word things. You know, I give more like just kind of like layouts and not saying, you know, like, oh, will you please do this? Or, you know, it's like, you know, do X, Y, and Z, blah, 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 like more deadlines and structure. So there's like no, there's less movement or room for, I don't know, either just like them not following through or mistakes being made or miscommunication or kind of pushed a little on, you know, what they think they get away with.
Yeah. Like what I really dislike about something is when you give someone a very clear on like a task and they come back asking you for questions. What I tell my people now is, you are in this company to help me out, to lessen my burden. You know, I've got a lot of things going on. Why are you asking me this question that actually you should be doing? And while this might seem harsh, it's just me being direct. Like, answer your own questions. What are you doing here? If not, and I always feel a tad guilty afterwards, but it works. Yeah, but you know, you have to be strict, and then after a while you can be more lenient because you know what they're made of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah,
that's
important.
Like that testing period of what their potential is and what they can do and how to push them, but also knowing their limits.
Yeah, definitely. Brilliant. Yeah.
So for this whole process, is there anything that you'd want to have done differently?
To be honest, I would do it all over again. It's been hard, but I've loved it. And one thing I would change though is I wished I would have, and this is quite personal, why not? I wish I would have communicated more with my partner, because we were actually, you know, supposed to get married last year, and then I started the business, and I'm this kind of person, when I start something, I get very, very obsessed about it. So I put in all my time, all my resources, everything I had into this. She's been very lenient with me, but I wish I would have communicated more, because I can imagine it must have been quite hard, you know, being with this obsessed guy that can only talk and sleep and dream about one thing only. So yeah. So hereby online, I apologize. Sorry, Kemi. So yeah, no, but like, no, like that. I wish, but I've learned to communicate more now, and you know, yeah.
Yeah, communication. I think that's so important, not just professionally, but also personally. Just like having that kind of open communication.
Yeah, and these are the people that are going to be there in your tough times. So treat them well when it's going right, you know.
So throughout this journey, I know we've talked a lot about kind of like the ups and downs. So one last kind of downer question. Like, what was one of the biggest struggles that you've gone through or learned from throughout this experience?
Oh, the biggest struggle.
Like an obstacle.
Well, I guess more general, it was, sorry, my chair is so wonky. Maintaining a positive feeling and belief in myself, you know, being outside of my comfort zone and keep going, like keep believing in myself, talking positively to myself. Like I said, I was alone for quite like 6 months or something, and you can really waver, you know. So like, get that positive self-talk. I got these post-its and I stickered them everywhere, you know, in the bathroom, on the door, everywhere. I believe in you. You can do this. You're the man. Stuff like that, just to keep me going, keep me going, keep me going. So it's not like one. Well, maybe the moment that I started crying at the CV thing, making my resume. Maybe I should have had a sticker or posted there. But like it's in general, you're kind of like in tension a lot of the time because you're creating something new, you're innovating. So really keeping that continuous self-belief. That maybe that's the you know, that was the most that was the hardest struggle.
In my shower, there's this thing called what is it called? Something shower love notes or something. And so I think it's built with it's built to use with someone else, but you could use it for yourself. So it's like this little pad of paper that you could stick in the shower, and it's okay if it gets wet, and this pencil that you can write on, and like the ink, the pencil ink doesn't smear. And so like you could write love notes to your partner. But it's also cool that you could like write positive affirmations if you want to yourself. So like every day, you know, if you're taking a shower, you'll see these positive affirmations.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. No, that's good. That's really good. Yeah, you need to kind of, you know, if you get too much in your mind down about things, to get out of that. Oh, you know what helps me as well? I do that every day. And the Germans have a really funny word for it, actually. When I have a shower every day, I finish with a cold shower where I spray like 5 seconds every part of my body for 5 seconds, and it really like gets you out of your thinking mode, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I just, the funny thing is, the Germans they have a word, and German is a beautiful language, you know. They have a word for someone that only takes hot showers. They call it a Warmduscher, which means like someone that I can't translate it, someone that takes hot showers, which is a bit like a, sorry to use this word in a, you know, negative way, but a bit like a pussy. So sorry, it's just a bit of a funny thing that I think, but I like having that cold shower and disciplining myself every day kind of keeps me a bit on edge. It sounds silly, but it really works.
No, that makes sense. Like jumping into a cold pool will suddenly wake you up very quickly.
Take you back into the now, you know, like, okay, I'm here. Let's do this.
Yeah. That's a good idea. I might adopt something like that.
Yeah, and it's a cool word. You should adopt it in English as well. Warmduscher.
Shower affirmations.
All right. What's next?
So I'd also like to know, what has been the most rewarding experience for you throughout this journey?
Definitely two things. Definitely seeing my concept coming to life.
Yeah.
That was amazing. I still like, you know, we're tweaking. I've been tweaking for 3 months because it needs to be perfect. You know, we keep on going back and forth. the people at the sample studio at first, they thought we were mad. They thought they've never seen someone put so much effort into one kind of thing. But now they actually, even the big boss of the sample studio, every time we're there, they come to the fitting rooms to check out how it's going. They're really involved, which is great. So that started with that first, they're seeing it come to life, which was amazing. And all of these guys, the fitting models, or almost all of them, wanted to buy one immediately.
Nice.
That was, yeah, so it was really good, you know. And the second thing is having that support from my parents, which was, I live in a strange country, I travel a lot, so I don't see my family that often. But having that support from my parents was very important to me as well. Just like your dad saying, I'm proud of you, or your mom saying, I love you, I believe in you, can make a world of difference, you know?
Yeah, it makes a huge difference to have that kind of support, especially if it's coming, you know, if we're fortunate to have loving parents, you can have that kind of unconditional love and support from someone that just makes a world difference.
Yeah, so those are the two kind of, on a personal and professional level, the two most rewarding ones. And hopefully, you know, probably soon, we're starting to talk to angels and venture capitalists now to, you know, to get Morph out there. And I believe that's going to be very rewarding as well.
What's that process like of talking to angel investors or venture capitalists?
Well, we're just starting out now. We're just selecting the right ones. The truth is, I'm quite picky. I work very much based on values. So, you know, they need to have and the skills and the connections and, you know, the finances. But on top of that, I want them to have the right values as well. So I can't tell you right now because we're just in the selective, you know, just talking to people, business people to get the right connections.
Mm-hmm.
So I might tell you afterwards.
Okay. And also, where can people and when can people buy this perfect t-shirt for men? And then when you start, like, so when's that's going to be the first product that's out there?
Well, so Morph is actually the first spin-off of my quest towards this luxury, sustainable menswear brand. Mm-hmm. And there's actually a second spin-off now, which I'm quite excited about. And that comes because it started because we just needed to have a proof of sales. So when you develop something new, you have a proof of concept, you know, which is just a fancy word for showing that it works. But you need a proof of sales as well, which is just showing that it, you know, people want it, that there's a need for it in the market. So we needed to do something with that. So we decided to just, you know, first start selling. We're gonna sell some T-shirts, like very, you know, friends and family and stuff, to see if it worked. But then because I was actually raised in a socialist family, and mind you, like I'm just telling you, you know, Americans on the call, socialist is not a bad word in Europe. You know, it's actually has a positive connotation. And I grew up in a socialist family. My mom's a politician, actually. And so I grew up with a lot of inclusive values. You know, I really admire my parents because they help a lot of poor people and stuff, and they really they love equality. And so this, together with like that proof of sales, came into this new concept, which is called 2080. So 20/80, based on a mathematical principle as well. And what we do there is like it's kind of derivation from all the designs I do, and it's got like it's essentially menswear essentials like t-shirts, shirts, sweatshirts, jumpers, but it's actually the first brand that uses the Morph fit, so it fits very well. You know, it's very comfortable. On top of that, we only use eco fabrics and sustainable processes. So it's completely manufactured in Europe. Actually, the first batch of T-shirts will be manufactured in London itself, and we will only use very high quality eco fabrics that have like performance qualities and stuff. So that's 2080, you know, menswear. It's like Uniqlo. I don't know if you know the brands, but better. And there's a massive gap in the market there as well. You know, like I don't know what these fashion companies are doing. I'm sorry, but like, what are you doing? So that's what we're aiming at. There is a big Kickstarter crowdfunding launch in August 2015, where we will launch our shirts, the Morph shirts, 2080 shirts, you know, using Morph and completely sustainable fabrics. But in the meantime, we are starting to sell T-shirts in May, pre-sales. Like I said, made in London with eco fabrics. But it's like a low-end kind of sales because the season has kind of passed for us to do a big launch. Okay. You know, summer, it's not enough time to get traction. But we're doing like small batches, so it's kind of like a bit more, like I guess you could say, exclusive. Mm-hmm. So, but if people are very curious about having a 2080 T-shirts, what I want to tell you, I'm most proud of the price. We've managed to create this amazing product that is better in every way. And I'm not saying this to sell, because I've tried $10 to $500 t-shirts, and ours is better in every way. And we are managing to sell it now for about $50
Oh, wow.
for a t-shirt. And this is something that will last you much longer than your average t-shirts, and it will fit you much better. So that's what I'm most proud of. You know, I think that's what makes my parents most proud as well, that we get to offer a great product, no bullshit, for a good price.
Yeah.
So if people really want one, you know, let's say this, they can send you a message or send Vidpal a message if they really want one, and you connect them to us. Pre-sales start like half middle of May, and we can maybe even give them a discount. You know, like a courtesy of Vidpal.
That'd be really great.
So yeah, so if you want to get in touch, you know, you won't regret it, and if you don't like it, we'll give you your money back, promise.
That's great that you're creating something really quality, because I know, like, my t-shirts and my sweatshirts, those are like two of my favorite things. And then after a while, like, my t-shirts start getting holes in them, and my sweatshirts, like, one of my sweatshirts right now, I need a new one, but I really like it, so I still wear it. But like, the wrist, it's like getting holey, like one of the little hole things up here, it's like starting to fall apart.
Yeah. And we studied all that, and like, we do everything to kind of avoid those things. So it's the kind of philosophy about 2080 is like, you know, you kind of throw on something casual or simple, but it will make you look very good, and you will feel super comfortable, you know? It's about not even thinking about what you want to wear anymore. I'd like people to have guys to have a whole kind of closet full of 2080 with their working shirts, casual shirts, t-shirts, performance t-shirts, you know, trousers, and they just, you know, it's going to give them, you know, so you can really focus on what you want to achieve in life as well, and you don't have to worry about these little things, you know? That's what we're there for, to offer a service for a really good price.
And so
I hope I'm not, tell me.
What was that?
I hope I'm kind of worrying in the back of my head. I hope I'm not too salesy right now, but it's just, you know, the passion speaking. It's
And if you create something great, you're just talking about the truths of what you created, so that's not salesy.
Yeah. And I'm so frustrated about what, you know, like talking to people in big luxury brands or other people in normal brands. Anyway, like, what are you doing? Like, it's so money oriented. They're not putting anything in research and development, because it's not immediate results. And I think they're gonna, you know, they're gonna regret not doing that, because the customers are being ripped off. And what frustrates me more is that they're being okay with being ripped off just because your t-shirt has a big L and a V or something. You know, I can't speak too loudly, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like that's a problem with most of society and business, and how business is handled. It's more so about the money, and I think people are more, I guess, short-sighted and don't really see, I guess, the repercussions of what that does. And I could like think of that, like, not just like business, but like you apply that to the environment, or like just a lot of things in general with society.
Definitely, it just comes together. The business and the environment, you know, it's a bit the same. Business is just a group of people doing transactions, doing commerce in an environment. So they're linked. You can't be more linked than that. Anyway, that's another topic, but yeah.
Okay, so I want to know a little bit more about, I guess, you're also a business consultant, and I've, like, this, from listening to you and talking to you, it seems like you have this kind of process down of being able to streamline businesses really quickly, or like get things going really quickly. And so, one, that's something I really admire, and then two, when someone comes to you, like a client comes to you, what advice do you give them in the beginning? Like, what are those kind of first steps that someone should take when creating their business or their startup?
Okay. Well, first of all, you know, when I work with people, because I'm quite, you know, leveraged or busy, I select very carefully, which I feel everyone should do. So, or people that inspire me, that don't have an idea yet, but they're very hungry. You know, you can see it in their eyes. Or people who have a great idea and need some help. So once I get the, you know, the first thing I test them for their resilience, their commitment. How committed are they? Is this not some fads that they're going through? You know, they need to be very hungry. And once I've established that, the first thing, if they've already got their idea, you know, we start kind of building the concept and taking small validation steps. So you don't spend money that you don't have really. Well, I did, but you know, but when you try to eliminate that as much as possible. So we start validating. Um, what I could recommend people is, like I said, get some coaching, get some, get some advice, pay for it as well. I know this sounds like sales talk, but it's not, because when you pay, you kind of give them a permission slip to help you out, because when you pay, you prove to them that you value what they offer, and you will listen much more. I've tried free coaching and stuff, and people just don't value you as much because it's free. And for some reason, humans don't value things if they're free, which makes me sad, but anyway. So like, get a good coach, very important. Get the right people around you, very important as well. Get a mastermind group, And the third, get an action plan going. Define a strategy, define a few steps that you can take one by one, define them very clearly, set deadlines, and get accountability. And that's what I help people mostly with. We kind of provide creative solutions together. I help them kind of see their blind spots. It's cool because my education as a psychologist comes in. I help them with their blind spots. We create this creative concept around it, and then we set like a very dry, actually very exciting, but it's quite dry. This very clear strategy, and I just keep them on track. Is that an answer, really?
Yeah.
Well, maybe wait, let me elaborate, because I felt I was talking a bit too much about what I can offer instead of just what if you start out. Well, if you have an idea, coaching, advice, and just like work on it, every day. If you don't have an idea, make sure you get someone to find that idea. And like, like the Rumi thing said, like, you can take 100 years for a journey that takes 2 days. So yeah, coaching. Like I've invested, two things that really helped me. This is a practical tip. Is do you know AppSumo?
Yes.
Yeah, by Noah Kagan. He's a cool guy. AppSumo has helped me. His course, like Make It Grand, 3 months or something. It wasn't really helpful for me, but like that kind of community and mentality really helped me. And the second one is the Digital Nomad Academy, which is run by this guy, Cody McKeown, quite a famous digital nomad. He's a really cool guy as well. I've done some coaching with him. He's very knowledgeable, especially about Asia. So they've built these kind of communities, with these practical tools. So these things, these things for a few $100s, like it's really helped me a lot on my journey. So yeah, find the right people. That's all I can say. Keep on track. Oh, one more thing. The gut feeling, the idea that you have in the beginning, is often the right one. I've had moments that I have this inspiration, then I think, no. Compromise in your head. You go all the way around it just to come back at the same point. So that initial feeling, don't lose that excitement. Don't bring yourself down. It's probably the right one.
Yeah. And how did you find the right people for you? Like, what were the steps that you take to like found the Digital Nomad Academy, or like to find the things that you knew would work for you?
To be honest, I've always been. I feel that I'm bad at finding the right people. I've got this. My brain doesn't function properly. If something's not in my vicinity, I can't imagine it. So I think the right people have found me, and that was it. I think once I was ready, and this sounds a bit woo spiritual stuff, but once I was ready, you kind of like start exuding that confidence, so people come towards you.
Yeah.
You have to be serious, yeah. And just talk to people, about what you love. Sometimes you can really be nagging. Maybe I'm nagging right now about, oh, I love this, it's so great, and some people are, oh, fuck off. But other people are really inspired by you, and those are the people that will keep coming back to you. So even now, sorry?
I was saying I agree with that kind of woo-woo thing, that when you're just kind of ready and open to things, they find you.
Yeah, like open up to possibilities, Like even now we've got 3 people working for us for free outside of their working hours at their jobs. For me, that's worth so much, That's beautiful. They're actually, because they're just excited about the projects that we're doing. And I asked them, what do you want? Do you want money? And all of them have said no. I said, no, we're just really excited. Of course, they will get their reward in due time. Like if you do the work, you deserve the rewards. But they're not in it for the money, which I think is much more valuable I'd rather have that kind of person working 2 hours a day for me than someone working 10 hours a day not doing stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So where are all the places that people could find you online? It's like, how could they find you for business coaching? How could they find Morph? Like, how could they find 2080? Where will someone find you? Or how could someone get connected with you?
To be honest, like, you've got me there. You can't find us anywhere yet. I think I am the worst digital nomad in the world. I can't even be called a digital nomad because I'm so bad at online things. We will be online. We will be online soon. We just had someone join the team now that will be like doing that marketing and PR stuff. Like for now, if people want to order a t-shirt, like go through Vidpal and we'll get in touch with you. But for the business coaching, yeah, I'm actually looking for someone who's very well organized and knows about Google Ads and all these kind of online things, so we can get that to the next level, you know, so we can help more people. Morph and 2080 will be in August will be the crowdfunding, so you know you'll probably see us then, hopefully. And Morph, well, since Morph is not geared towards consumers, it's more of a B2B, business to business kind of approach. It's not really necessary to do that for us. So that's mostly towards other clothing brands.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's it.
And are you like on Twitter or other places where they can?
Oh yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm actually on Twitter. Yeah. Can you maybe tweet my Twitter thing afterwards or something? Can you do that?
We could definitely do that.
Yeah. I have to spell my name and stuff. It just wouldn't work, you know. So yeah, you can connect to like inspiring people, or if you have a question or something, tweet me. How do you call it? Tweet me.
Yeah.
Tweet me, and I'll get in touch.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Niels, for joining us and for taking the time just to share your journey and all your knowledge with us.
Yeah, well, it was really fun actually, and thanks for having me. I hope I kind of like helped some people or something. People had some fun on a Saturday.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Talk soon.
Yes, we'll talk soon.
Did you have fun?
What was that?
Did you have fun?
I did have fun. Yes, it was a good way to start my day smiling, or my early afternoon.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna end my day smiling because it's already getting dark here. So.
Okay, well, everyone watching, thank you so much for joining us, and I just want to let you all know that next Thursday, I think that's May 7th. It is May 7th. We are going to be interviewing Till Bodella, and hopefully I'm not butchering his last name. And it's going to also be a fun experience like today with Niels, with more smiles. And so thank you, Niels, and we will see you again.
See you soon. Bye.